and as managers. And then came a time when the owners had no hands in managing it anymore. They had become just owners, and they can only set up a board of directors that will set targets for the managers. And that's the moment which I call managerial revolution. I went into business as a professional manager. I didn't have to own one share in the business. And I managed in a manner in which I believe the owner couldn't do better than myself. Otherwise, I'm not of much use to him. So that kind of concept means you've got to be honest, you've got to be transparent. Otherwise, how else can the owner entrust all that to you, all the assets and the entire future? And businesses must continue to be profitable. Otherwise, they'll not be there for a long, long time.
So what are the other prerequisites for good corporate governance?
The other is you must have a structure and you must have a system. A structure means the way, if you look at it as a building, what holds it up together, and the relationship between different parts of the structure. You have what is called a span of control. You also have a chain of command. Those are all the things that relate to structure as far as the professional manager is concerned. Then you must have a system by which things are done. The budgeting is one of the systems. You have an annual budget, or you have a plan. And your plan can be first a strategic plan, then an annual plan, then perhaps a weekly plan. And you must do your best to look well ahead. In particular, in terms of management succession. Those you employ now, some of them will not be here in 20 years' time. What kind of business would you be having in 20 years' time? And what resources have you lined up to meet all of the challenges of the... once you think about those things, then you think about how you are going to meet those challenges. Then you develop a system. A system means you are not dealing with decisions on an ad hoc basis. If there's a shortage, you have thought about it long before it happened, and you knew what things you were going to do. Whether it's a shortage of human being, or it's a shortage of material, or you don't have electricity, it's even when it happens that you'll be running about. That's what a systematic management is all about.
You know, many boards merely exist on paper, or they're at best ceremonial. How can we make boards more effective in the running of businesses?
It's better to have a board that consists of a majority of non-executive directors. So if you have a board of 10, it's better to have 6 non-executive directors and 4 executive directors. Now, in a situation like that, it is hoped that the CEO can be checked by the chairman and the non-executive director, and that he doesn't become autocratic simply because he reports to nobody except once in a year at the annual general meeting. Now, that's a great improvement, but it also means that the chairman must take the job seriously. He must lead by example. If there are 4 board meetings in a year, he should endeavor to be there all the 4. Not that he will attend only 2 out of 4. If a meeting starts at 11 o'clock, he should endeavor to be there at 10 a.m. so he can have discussion with the MD and anybody else he might wish to have, because he doesn't go there often. So that punctuality will be the soul of business as far as he's concerned. He must read all the documents that are prepared thoroughly, so thoroughly that if there's any little mistake, he can point it out. Because to err is human. He must also be fairly knowledgeable in what is going on, in the jargon of the business. If he's not knowledgeable, he should make himself knowledgeable. He should go back to school to get to know all of the jargon of the business. And the same thing goes with the other non-executive directors.
In a few words, sir, what are the most important values a leader should espouse?
A good leader, number one, should lead by example. That's the easiest answer I can give to that. But it's more complex than that. A good leader must also put himself in such a way that is accepted by the followers. If you are leading and you look back at some point and there's nobody behind you, you've lost your leadership, which means the leader must be constantly in touch with the followers. There must be good communication between him and the followers. He mustn't ram his own decision down the throat, because at the end of the day, it's only collective effort that can produce result, not a one-man show. If he wants followers to make a sacrifice, he must be the one to make the biggest sacrifice. Leading by example, as I said. He must be focused in terms of planning for the future, not just acting on impulse. Good plan, starting with strategic planning and breaking it down into probably medium-term plans and short-term plans. And in particular, he must focus on human resource development, because as I said earlier, people are the greatest asset of any business. And if he can focus seriously on making sure that he has a cohesive team, people work together, the atmosphere of work is conducive. If there's a trade union within the organization, that he listens and he doesn't think the trade union members are enemies or adversaries. They have a reason to be there because they want to protect their members. And open a two-way communication, always a dialogue, then things will be reasonably good.
You talked about management succession a few minutes ago. Does that mean then that we really shouldn't blame the politicians for having an interest in who succeeds them?
No, I'm not saying they should be blamed for having an interest in who succeeds them. But what they tend to do is to focus on one person. First, you focus on the system. I've described to you a system that will take on management trainees. And we go to several universities to go and interview them. You may start off with 1,000 candidates being interviewed and finish up with 6. Haven't brought the 6 into the organization. At the end of 2 years, you should now begin to say to yourself, out of these 6, who has the potential to reach the board of the company? Now, at that time, it may be only 24, but it's showing a lot of promise. And then you say, we're going to keep an eye on this person. He will become one of our high flyers. Now, I've described a system. I'm not focusing on just one person. Now, what our politicians don't do is to develop a system that is throwing up all of these people. And at the end of the day, the best of them will emerge. And the best of them isn't just a decision of that governor alone. It's a corporate decision. You can't put a good man down in most cases. If he's imbibed the culture, everybody else will see it. It's not just you alone. I'm not talking about crown prince, that somebody had decided to coronate him or her. I'm talking about a system that throws up. Now, if our political system can work in that way, that people come in, they start taking note of them, and they start giving them assignments, different assignments, how they perform them, and they start rating from our legislators, who are our best performers from our political point of view. Let's say of all the legislators in this country, from a particular political party, there are 100. Of the 100, if you want to put 10 people on the fast track, who are they? And that's the way, and having identified those 10 people, what is the fast track we're going to put them on? Now, I was put on fast track by Unilever, only in retrospect. The reason is they sent me on several courses, the most important being Harvard Business School. Now, it costs a fortune to be sent to Harvard Business School. I was number 2 vice chairman at the time. Unilever sent me to Harvard Business School. Unilever will only send 2 or 3 to Harvard Business School at any point in time. Now, in my class, there were 4 Unilever people there. It was only a matter of time I become the CEO. If I wasn't swollen-headed and I didn't have a scandal, because I would not have been sent there if they hadn't identified that I'm a probable, it's more than possible, CEO. But I had gone on several courses even before Harvard Business School. One of my bosses once told me, you'll be sick of courses, the way we're going to treat you. Now, that is what I call management succession planning. From early on, having identified where there are weaknesses, you work on those weaknesses. Because sometimes a person you picked on is not a good speaker. He works very well in many other things. Then you send him on an elocution course. I was sent on a computer appreciation course because I knew nothing. I mean, computer was just growing at the time we were there. So you fill in the gaps, knowing fully well when they get to the very top, there are certain things they will need.
You recently said that you admire people who protest and demonstrate for social change. Is this the only way we can foster change in a society like Nigeria?
Well, I do admire them because I believe it's very helpful to any organization, to any government, to occasionally have protests. Without a protest is a form of feedback, and without feedback, you never know as an administrator or manager whether you are doing well or not. Now, in some countries, protesters are looked upon as rabble-rousers, enemies of society. They never do well. But I don't look at it that way. There are people who feel deeply about what is going on and what may be going wrong. And consequently, they want to demonstrate. All I wanted to do was to have a way of dignifying that process, a little more than what happens at the moment. And therefore, I was suggesting that those who protest should be carrying Nigerian flag, small Nigerian flag, to show they're good patriots. They're not against the country, but they may be against some decisions.
That's our program. Thank you for watching. Please follow me on Twitter at ModeleSY and also tweet me your thoughts on today's program, or leave your comments on our website, channelstv.com, where you'll also see previous editions of the program view from the top. I thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.